is breaking news. Hanna right now has just become a hurricane. Now this is a little bit of a late video, but I was unable to record earlier. Here's Hanna right now. Now Hurricane Hanna, the first hurricane of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. Today we're going to be focusing primarily on Hanna and Gonzalo. We will not be talking about him today. Hanna is our main focus. Here's the latest. Outer rain bands of Hanna producing already tropical storm winds gust along the central coast. That is absolutely crazy. Here's the latest here. West at 8 miles per hour, 982 millibars, 75 miles per hour. And I believe they updated that to 980 millibars, didn't they? Yes, so we're not 980 millibars and 7 miles per hour. So this is getting close to, the 970s, and it's still only a Cat 1 hurricane, surprisingly. But here's where it's currently, that wind field right now. A pretty big hurricane wind field still. And it is right now moving southwest according to the latest, based on our latest satellite imagery. So it is likely to make a landfall probably around here. Um, and as you can see, the tropical coastal force winds are going to be extending out all the way, into Texas. I'm not sure where they have tropical coastal force winds that much, all the way up into Houston area where, we know they're not going to be getting tropical storm force wind, but there's still a chance for those tropical storm force gusts. Latest National Hurricane Center cone calls for an 80 mile per hour landfall, which is possible, 80 to 90 miles per hour, I say. 90 is still possible, but right now it looks 80 miles per hour. Looks to be a little bit more, it's probably going to be 80 miles per hour. And then it's still going to be 60 miles per hour as I guess into Mexico, which is pretty crazy to say the least. So that does mean we're going to be getting tropical storm winds all the way into Mexico. So that's a pretty large area of hurricane and tropical storm winds that we could be getting with this system. The biggest threat with this system is going to be rainfall, obviously, and we're looking at up to 10 inches of rainfall, 6 to 10 inches of rainfall in this area, which is absolutely, crazy. And we're looking even up to 12, 14, even potentially 15 isolated amount of rain. And, really, Mexico is going to be getting a lot of that rain, southern Texas primarily. Really, thankfully, is that the entire southern part of Texas does not have a lot of, big major populations areas, which is really, a good thing that this hopefully will not impact too much people. Here's a look at that potential storm surge. We're looking at 3 to 5 feet here in this area right here. So 3 to 5 feet, that is pretty major amount. Not the biggest, but it is pretty big. Also 2 to 4 feet near Baffin Bay, and 1 and 2 feet near High Island and Surgeon. So we're looking at a storm surge in the entire coast of Texas, even getting into, really even going into Texas at this point. But here's a look here also, the latest satellite imagery for the system. It's looking a lot better, and now we're starting to see the eye form slowly, but we're really starting to see the eye form right out of the coast here. And this is potentially what could become the eye, as you can see this little area here, where we're getting that convection really wrapping around, and this could potentially be the eye right here, but that would mean the eye is right off the coast, which is not what we've been looking at, so it could also not be the eye. Let's just check something really quick, because if that was to be the eye, Recon did find something a little bit different, so that's why I'm just gonna check it really quick. There's also a mission here, probably another one going potentially into so Recon from the eye. No, that probably wouldn't be the eye though. The eye would apparently, the center is somewhere here, unless there's a reformation of the center way more to the west into Texas. But that's going to be interesting to see, to say the least. We're going to have to see if that ends up happening. But here, that's what we're looking at right now. The system has everything. It doesn't really have anything holding it back except a little bit of wind shear. It does have 40 knots to its back in the Gulf, but it is in that little green spot where it should have favorable wind shear for this to develop. Let's look at the boy on Twitter here. He's talking about, let's see here, potential system to hit Florida. Yeah, he's just talking about that system. Not much there. National Hurricane Center did design it Hurricane Hanna, as I said before. Um, I'm asking a little bit speedy, it's just I don't have a lot of time, so I'm really bringing you guys the latest update on this. And I know we're already looking at tropical storm force winds sustained of at least 56 miles per hour near the eye wall. A buoy found that, so we're looking at that as well. In terms of flash flood potential, we're looking at 50% near Texas and the southern part of Texas and the northern part of Mexico. So that's also huge amounts of potential storm surge here we're looking at with that system. So it is really going to be a costly thing, and if you were going to be evacuated, it's too late now because we're already starting to see those tropical slow force winds enter the area. But here's a look at the visible high resolution. Just starting to come back in. This is what we are looking at, and as you can see, I do feel like an eye could be forming right here. There's a potential maybe we get a reformation of the center, because right now the center is supposed to be around here, but I do feel like potentially the center could reform all the way west here into Texas, which would break the landfall point a lot faster than expected, but would also weaken the system significantly. So we're gonna see if that ends up happening or not. Here's a look at the water vapor here. Pretty much same story here. But as you can see on the water vapor here as well, you can kind of try to see that potential eye forming right off the coast. But it could very well be a dry spot as well, which seems a little bit most likely, because I don't really think it's an eye right now. But that's what we do have going on. GFS is calling for a 977 973 landfall. So GFS is calling for a 973 landfall, which they already found a millibar of 970, and they were expecting this to be at 985 in 6 hours. So this is already very outdated by this point. Let's look at the HWRF. It was calling for 976 in 6 hours. So that's also starting to be outdated. But they're calling for a 969 landfall, which is still very likely possible, as we already found around 977 at the lowest National Hurricane Center, though it's still going for 980. But that is still very possible at this point, and we could still have the potential of this happening. But we're just gonna have to see if it is able to hold itself or not. Here's a look at 97L. Likely could go to Florida at this point, but that's to be seen later on. I'll have more updates right now, but we're looking at a very major system. I'm going to try to get maybe some footage of Hanna for you guys if we do have that right now, which we could have potentially. Let's see here. Footage of Hanna. Maybe we have that. Maybe we don't. 2020. I'm going to see if we have some footage of that right now. It does not look like we have anything on this at the moment, but we could have more of this in the future. So this is the latest. I'll catch you guys when this makes landfall, but we're looking at 980, 75 miles per hour, moving west at 7 miles per hour. Get your hurricane plan ready. I know this is going to be a very strong system, could bring major impacts, very likely, and we really need to prepare for this as much as we can. And this is the first hurricane of the 2020 Atlantic